what are the 2 or 3 operational challenges that consistently come up across operators, regardless of the region or technology generation?
So the first of them would be the data versus decision matter. So for the operator, it is much easier and quicker to collect the data, have a wide data storage, than being able to make fast, accurate, and trustworthy decisions with those data. So normally, those decisions carry some action against the network, and this action has a not always known blast radius. So this prevents them from acting quickly. So the second thing is on the engineering capacity. Many times the same senior engineers are asked to troubleshoot some issues in the network, to correct, not only to investigate, but also to apply some corrective actions and to overview many things at the same time. And there is a capacity problem here. And the third thing, which underlays these two, is the trust. So the operator, as of now, may have a bunch of utilities with a bunch of possible actions to be taken against the network, and probably many of those actions have never been triggered, but because they don't fully trust what will be the outcome of that. And this relates with the probabilistic versus deterministic conflict that we try to resolve here in TUP.
AI pilots are everywhere. Why do so many of them stall before reaching the production?
So there are different reasons. So one of them is that the operators sometimes try to do several things at the same time and try to have all the ingredients, we could say all the data, prepared as a prerequisite to do this pilot. And most of the times, this is not possible. So the most pragmatic and the most reasonable way of doing this, we think at Tupo, is to define a narrow scope, some narrow functionality to be tested, not to have the data prepared and curated in advance as a pre-requirement, but assume that will come throughout the evolution of this pilot and grow from there. So once that you have something running, then you will expand little by little. And the second thing is that many times we focus on the functionality to test, but we forget about some operating aspects around that functionality. Aspects like accountability, so who's responsible for something, if it goes well, if it goes wrong. About traceability, so how do we know why any decision was made. And about a possible rollback, for example. We're acting against the network. So if something goes wrong, we need to be very fast to execute a rollback. And be very fast doesn't mean that you decide on the fly how to solve it. It means that before you take any action, you need to know how to revert it, but before taking that action. So I think this data readiness thing and these tangential operating aspects are not always being taken into account.
You work directly with operators on deployments. What does the first 90 days actually look like?
Okay, so in these 90 days, we have several phases. So normally the first phase is for the definition of the scope. So as I was saying before, it is crucial that we define a bounded functionality to be tested. So during these days, we define this, we define the data sources that we will be consuming, how they will be consumed, the the systems against which we will act, and so. And once that this is defined, this may entail the first couple weeks, we could say. Then we enter the second phase, which is an open loop actuation. It is a human in the loop actuation. So the system starts working, and the human, to gain trust in the system, will normally supervise that the functionality does what it is supposed to do. And the third and last phase, the human is not in the loop, it is in command. So the human needs only to supervise and to define the policies, the operating policies that the system will follow. So these are roughly the phases that will be followed in the first 90 days. Then we enter into the regular operating and the business as usual operating phase of the product.
Besides technology, what does an operator need to advance through the TM Forum autonomous network levels?
Okay, so nowadays, most operators are facing the leap from level 3 to level 4. This leap is not about execution automation, but about decision automation. And in this shift, governance and gain trust in the decision delegation is crucial. So this implies certain milestones. So one of them is that the operators or the engineers will not follow the human in the loop anymore. They will not need to approve individual actions anymore, but they will need to define or approve policies that will govern the whole automation system. On the other hand, there will be a multi-domain orchestration and automation, but this has two implications. It is not only from a technical point of view that the system will need to collect data from different domains, from RAN, core, transport, but also organizational, meaning that groups within the operator that normally live independent to some extent will now need to communicate among each other, to interact among each other in a much more intense way.